That card's not fair. Oops. Good game. Wow. That's very strong. Okay, good game, opponent. Yeah, it's pretty sick. Do they have lifelink or anything? Activate his ability. Alright. A little awkward. There's 11, 14, 19, 22. They do have an Aether Eyes. Oh no. We knew it. Oh shoot. Yeah, if your opponent's holding up 4 mana and have access to blue, expect an Aether Eyes. Hey there, cons. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to play Standard Brawl with Tyvar the Pummeler as our commander. He's a legendary elf warrior, 3/3. Tap another untapped creature you control. Tyvar gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. And then we can activate this ability. 3 green green. Creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So we definitely want to play a lot of big elves. We got some anthem effects. We got some tokens. And then we've got Craterhoof Behemoth as a curve topper to help close out games. In the deck, we've got some piles separated by ramp, anthem or pump up effects, token generators, elves, miscellaneous. I'm going to focus on keywords, graveyard recursion, and removal. Okay, starting with our ramp pile, we have the tried and true Llanowar elves. You just tap to produce a green mana. One of the best 1-drops in the game, especially in green. Druid of the Cowl, Llanowar elves' elder sister. For 2, you get to tap to produce a green with a 1/3 body. Overgrown Zealot, it's an 0/4. You can tap to produce 1 mana of any color. And I don't think we're going to have anything relevant for the second ability, but it's just a good 0/4 body. Growing Rites of Itlamok. It's a legendary enchantment. When it enters, look at the top 4 cards of our library. We may reveal a creature card from among them, but put them into your hand. We have lots of creatures, lots of elves in the deck. And then we put the rest on the bottom in any order. At the beginning of our end step, if we control 4 or more creatures, we transform it. So this can be add green for each creature we control, which could be sick. Springbloom Druid. When it enters, you may sacrifice a land. If you do, search your library for up to 2 basic lands, put them on the battlefield tab. So it's just a good way to ramp for 3. And then Vizier of the Menagerie. It's a 3/4. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from among the top of your library. We have tons of those. And you may spend mana of any type to cast creature spells. So that isn't particularly relevant, but we're just going to keep going and going, hopefully. All right, in the second pile, we've got some anthem or pump up effects. And speaking of pump up, we've got Wildborn Preserver. So this is a 2/2 with flash, so we can cast at instant speed. Also has reach. But then whenever another non-human creature, which I believe hits every other creature in the deck, enters, you may pay X. When you do, put X +1/+1 counters on this creature. So especially if we have, the Itlamok Cradle the Sun out, we're going to be able to produce a lot of mana to put out lots of 1/1 counters if this happens to be on the battlefield. Imperious Perfect. It's a 2/2. Other elves you control get +1/+1. So the anthem. And then we can pay a green to tap to create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. So this also produces elf warrior tokens. Redtooth Genealogist. It's a 2/3. When it enters, create a royal roll token. So that is +1/+1 and ward 1. So we get to protect some of our key essential pieces. Elvish Archdruid. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1, and then you can tap to produce green for each elf we control. So another form of ramp. Adaptive Automaton. Other creatures you control of the chosen type. Elf gets +1/+1, so an Anthem. Lifecraft Engine, very similar, but also applies to vehicles, although this is the only vehicle in the deck. Patchwork Banner, choose a creature type, Elf. They get +1/+1 and add 1 mana of any color, so a little ramp as well. Dwynen Giltleaf Dayan, 3/4 with reach. Other elf creatures we control get +1/+1. Whenever she attacks, we gain 1 life for each attacking elf we control, so a bit of sustain built in. And then Banner of Kinship, so as it enters, with the number of fellowship counters equal to the number of creatures of elves we control, it gets +1/+1, so it rewards us for having already established a board state. And this pile is some token generators, so Dwynen's Elite, when she enters, or they enter, if you control another elf, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token, which is nearly always going to be the case. Roaming Throne, so this doubles the the battlefield effects of our chosen type, which is elf. And then Elfsworn Giant, anytime there's landfall, it produces a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. So this pile is kind of the miscellaneous, but we're definitely going to focus on elves and any relevant mechanics or keywords, starting with Hedge Whisperer. So this activated ability, 3 and a green, collect evidence 4. Target land you control becomes a 5/5 green plant boar creature token with haste, as long as this remains tapped. So that can give us a little bit more creature with haste, which can kind of take the opponent by surprise. Greenbelt Guardian, you can pay green to give target creature trample until end of turn. So we're going to be producing a lot of green mana, so we can assign everything trample, assume we have the mana for it. And then the other ability here is 3 and a green exhaust, put 3 +1/+1 counters on this creature. Thorn Wield Archer, reach and death touch, always good. B2 Ghazi Inspector, so as an additional cost to this spell, we may collect evidence 6, which is exile cards from our graveyard with total mana value 6 or greater. And then if it enters, if evidence was collected, put a 1/1 counter on target creature and we gain 2 life, so it gets to grow the team and also has a bit of reach. Beastkin Ranger, trample is the relevant mechanic here, but when it enters, this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn when another creature we control enters. So after this is already on the board. Cryptid Inspector, 2/3 with Vigilance, whenever face down permanent. I don't believe that's going to be relevant. Elvish Refueler, so during our turn, as long as we haven't activated an exhaust ability, we may activate exhaust abilities as though they haven't been activated. So we get to refuel or replenish some of our exhaust abilities. So it'll see the Greenbelt Guardian and the Refueler, so we can put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Fierce Empath, when it enters, you may search your library for a creature card with mana value 6 or greater. So that's likely going to be Craterhoof, as it's going to help close out the game. Cautious Survivors at 4/4 at the beginning of our second main phase. If it's tapped, we gain 2 life, so a bit of sustain. Ferocious Weirfox also has the adventure side is an instant guard change, create a monster roll token, so we can give something +1/+1 and trample. And then the other half that we can play from exile is a 4/3 with trample. Wildheart Invoker is a 4/3 with the activated ability. Target creature gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. So we can do that at instant speed, and if we can produce a lot of mana, we can hit multiple targets. So yeah, that can help close the games as well. Jaru Pathwarden, 5/4 with Vigilance and Trample, which is awesome. And then I think this guy doesn't need introduction, but Craterhoof, haste, when this creature enters, creatures you control gain trample and gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures we control. So hopefully we're going wide, and then this just closes out the game. This pile is a Graveyard Recursion. So we have Aftermath Analyst. When it enters mill 3, we can pay 3 and a green to sack this creature to return all land cards from our graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So this might be a fun way to cheat out some lands. Redtooth Vanguard, it's a 3/1 with trample. Whenever an enchantment we control, you may pay 2. If you do, return this card from graveyard to your hand. So it's a good way to keep this coming back to our hand to play it out and cast it for more. Elvish Regrower, it's a 4/3, and when it enters, return target permanent from your graveyard to hand. So if we happen to have Roaming Throne out and we can double the number of enter the battlefield effects, we can get our best 2 permanents from our graveyard. And then lastly, it's I guess, the removal pile. So Reclamation Sage, you may destroy target artifact enchantment. In the lands, we got Cavern of Souls to make our elf creatures uncounterable. And then 3-Tree City, which produces mana of the color equal to the number of creatures you control of the chosen type, which is going to be elves. And then a new fun card, Evendo, Waking Haven. Enters tap, produces green, and then we can station. So tap another creature we control, put charge counters on this planet equal to its power. Station only has a sorcery. So if we get 12 or greater, then we get to add green for each creature we control. So a good complement to Growing Rights of Ilamak. Well, that's this deck. Standard Brawl Tyvar deck. So hopefully we get to do something cool. Mendicant Core, Godlight, white, blue. Artifacts. We go first. We have Llanowar Elves. That's automatic keep. All right. I think we're just going on the ramp plan here. Attacking a land, putting out 2 lands. There we go. Got the boots out. All right. Let's go with Banner of Kinship. Why not? We're ramping, right? Naming elf. So our elves all grow by 2. That's a pretty strong anthem effect on turn 3. All right, so they get their commander out, equal to the number of artifacts they control, and they have protection for it, and they're creating speed. So we've got 4, 5 mana. In that case, let's get more damage out. Center's tapped. Naming elf. And swing in for 4. Right. So they have removal. What do they target? Our Banner of Kinship. Okay. That shrinks the team. Okay. We don't have anything really in the graveyard. But go ahead and cast this out. And we probably want the automaton here. And we'll cast the automaton. Naming elf. And we'll tap the automaton. And we can swing in freely here. They've got 1 blue. Okay, so all the damage goes through. And we get to get Ilamak transformed. Alright, so I think the Pummeler might be able to do something here. That's an activated ability. Board wipe. Alright. Good game. Yeah, so we just happened to go first into the best 1-drop in the game. And then we were ramping into some powerful effects, including our Banner of Kinship enter the battlefield pretty early, and then you know, doubling up anthem effects definitely got us there. So actually tripling. So yeah, elves are pretty strong. Don't have any early turn plays. They go first. Their game plan is going to revolve around discarding cards and then growing combat damage and drawing cards. I'm going to get the free mulligan here. I think we go down even 1 more. All right, this I can keep. I don't think we're going to need the Werefox here. Yeah, this is a slow card, and we want a little bit more defensive stats, given our hand and not going first. Good news is we get a Thornwood Archer out. Thorn-Wheeled Archer. Here we go. They have a creature that can't be blocked. Okay. Deals damage to a player, draw a card, and discard a card unless there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, which they currently have 0. And an Irreverent Gremlin. 2/2 with menace. Creature you control with power 2 or less enters. You may discard. If you do, draw a card. Only once each turn. So we're probably gonna play it slow here. And by that, I'm gonna swing in first. Okay, that gets in freely. We'll play out our 2/3 creature with vigilance, but it's unable to block because Irreverent Gremlin is menace here. Coolest of the Mind. Flying Vigilance. Equal to the number of cards you draw on this turn. When you commit a crime, you may draw a card. If you do discard, then... So ability triggers only once each turn. Alright. The next turn we're going to have access to 4 mana. I'm not sure if we're double spelling. We are not. So in that case, we're going to try to grow this Archer a bit. So we'll get the Imperious Perfect out and swing in with our creature as vigilance here. All right. So assuming they don't have removal, they're playing blue and red, so I think they have some interaction with our stuff here. Instead, they cast their commander. They can't block that creature. Okay, this is good fair magic here. Okay. So we're drawing our lands. This produces 1. All right. One, 2, 3, 4. Let's just play everything out. Oh, I forget. I needed to keep a mana open. My mistake. We can slow down. We can slow down. That's fine. They have 3 cards in hand. They got removal for our creature with reach so they can get their flyer in overhead. And they're drawing cards, they're discarding, they're growing target creature +2/+0. And it's the flyer with vigilance there. Alright, so we have a creature with trample now. That's probably going to help. I think we can take that. Alright. So we're going to have access to 6 mana, but really it's more. Connect the dots. Okay. All right. So we have 5 mana, right? Actually, no, we don't. We're doing this so wrong. No attacks. All right, Make them have it. Reaches, eager pillager. When attacks, choose one. It does not have haste. Okay. Do you think they have an Aetheraz here? I certainly hope not. Oh, that ability triggers whenever a pirate. Okay. So that works out for them. How many cards do they get to draw? One? Oh boy. This might get them there. All right. Can activate Tyvar's ability. The block. Full control. Use it. Depth, the guy that can't block this turn. And tap Tyvar. Okay. To take out their commander. All right. I think we get there. They do have, what, 5 cards in hand. Access to 4 mana, and they pass. All right. This should do it. Why do I keep doing that? So there's 11, 14, 19, 22. They do have an Aetheraz. Oh no. We knew it. Oh shoot. That was wild. Got a meringue, a river regent, 6/7 with flying. Yeesh. Turn up to 2 target, other target non-land permanents in the owner's hands. Okay. Well, we don't have a creature with reach. And this guy was going to produce all the mana. So. They are doing the thing. Good game, opponent. Yeah, if your opponent's holding up 4 mana of access to blue, expect an Aetheraz. That's a great matchup, though. Arabo, the first Fang. Recognize that card. Alright, they go first. We've got our early turn. We got our late turn. That's a keep. Oh, they're thematic with their pet. Card sleeves. That is not a cat. They have removal. Activated abilities can't be activated. That slows us down quite a bit. Alright, so they're going life gain stacks kind of build. Let's try to ramp out a little bit here. Okay. They're stuck on 2 lands. But maybe that's all they need. So we have access to 5. Cast out the roaming throne. Naming elf. I can. Alright. They have an Johnny's Pride Mate. Okay. So, now we have access to 6 mana. Don't have anything to collect evidence with. Let's back in. Okay. In that case, get the grower out. Permanent does include land. And an inspector. Alright. We're going wide. This costs 8 mana. We have access to 7 next turn. And they got some flyers overhead. Yeah. Their Pride Mate's growing. Alright. Get the refueler out. Okay. Pummeler out. They're gaining life. They're going overhead. I know attacks. And then next turn, I'm assuming it just all goes down, right? They have more removal. Exile, that's fine. Put to the command zone. Yeah. Alright, maths for blockers, right? That card's not fair. Cat, bird. They survive, right? Oops. Good game. Oh yeah, so green's pretty good. We didn't even get a chance to ramp. We were hitting our curve, so to speak, developing, our creatures on our side of the battlefield, hitting our land drops, and then eventually, Crater Hoof is typically a good way to close out games, even if your opponent happens to gain a bunch of life. But, they had their interaction, they had their removal, but unfortunately, it looks like they were stuck on 2 lands, so yeah. Tough way to lose. Going against Genova, Ancient Calamity. Beginning of your turn, put a number of +1/+1 equal to. Okay. Go ramp into some Anthem effects. I'm gonna keep Mutant. Dies, draw cards equal to its power. So they're gonna get rewarded for putting counters on Things equal the number of power. Mutant. Mutants die. They draw cards. Alright. They cheated. We were supposed to do that. Demon Wall. Okay. First Blood. The next turn, assuming this remains, we can double spell. Oh wow, that's a good card. All right. Yeah, we'll double spell. We'll cast the other effect as instant speed because it has flash. Or we can also cast the guard change here. Let's see what our opponent does. Cast out their commander. Okay, that grows. So that would help them draw 5 cards. I don't think we care about that. We'd rather have our creatures. All right. So we do have pseudo anthem effect. I say we get in there. Hopefully we hit a land drop. Get a Banner of Kinship out. Wow. That's very strong. Okay, good game, opponent. Yeah, we're playing checkers, they're playing chess. It's gonna be like that sometimes. Yeah, it's pretty sick. At the beginning of combat, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is this creature's power. Wow. Good job, opponent. Did it. Alright, going against Velothar, Dawn of the Abzan. Enters or attacks, you may sacrifice a non-land. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So they're also going to do a go wide thing. I'll keep. Elf. And try to go with a sort of ramp plan here. Fill the bin with some cards. Okay. There's some good ones to put in there. Station. All right, we got one. Only as a sorcery. Don't let me forget. Okay, they're slow here. Start with combat. Get out the Beastkin Ranger. And we'll go ahead and station. Wait. Alright, well, I think it doesn't count. That slows it down. Nice. Interesting interaction there. Spelunking. Okay. Get out a cave. Comes a creature. Alright. We will name elf. Get the red tooth vanguard out there and station. Alright. Grand Abolisher. Okay, so we can't flash or cast instants on our opponent's turn. And they got a pair of boots. Alright. Interesting. So 1, 4, 5, 6. Start with the Elvish Regrower. And get the Hellsworn Giant to hand. And we'll cast Dwynen's Elite here. Creating an elf token. And then we'll station. Station. So now this has green for each creature we control. Pretty cool. Swing in freely here. Alright. So this produces currently 5 mana. Okay. Could be good. I'm assuming they have some mass removal or some way to interact. Bell. Okay, that's 1 piece removed. The creature with trample on our side here. And they get to cast out their commander. And it's sacking an effect. Putting a 1/1 counter on each of their creatures. Okay. So if we get another Anthem effect. This requires 3 and 8 mana in total. I think we have that. Alright. One, 2, 3. Back in with all. We're reading our card. Does it have lifelink or anything? Activate his ability. Alright. A little awkward. But I think we did the thing. We probably shouldn't have played that out in case they had a board wipe, but we could have activated. It's all right. All right, good game. So in this matchup, you know, we had some early turn ramps, getting some more lands on the battlefield. This Avendo Waking Haven was a great addition. It produces green for each creature we control. We're definitely producing a lot of elves, including elf warrior tokens. So yeah, that was a great demonstration of what this deck is hoping to do. Thanks for stopping by. Take care. Hey there, cons. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you out there in the plane of Tarkir.